with a win today. How about Sean Kavanagh here? Wagstaff! It's 1-0 to Chesterfield. And I was just going to give the permutations for a Chesterfield win in just a moment. Now that is it on a silver platter. 41 points is survival in my book. And Chesterfield take an early lead. Has proven to be decisive in this mid-table clash. And this could be a set-piece winner! Anthony Syra has got the Don Valiant to lift off. And that is surely victory for Chesterfield. So there you go, everybody. Results secure. Just a few yellow cards to be upset about, but there you have it. 2-0 is the final score. Chesterfield survive. Pretty much guaranteed now. No one could possibly get 41 points from the bottom three. I am absolutely thrilled with that. We will comment in greater detail in a moment, but well done to Ben Wagstaff and Anthony Syra for getting those goals. The German has actually won the Man of the Match award, and I certainly wouldn't begrudge him for that. And he was assisted by his other German, Tom Bertram. So great work in the set piece for Chesterfield this afternoon. So we'll now look at these other scores. Lots of 1-1s, 2-1s, and that sort of thing. 1-0 to Leicester, so Aston Villa look to be doomed. Sheffield United get a point to catch up to Everton, who have a game in hand over the likes of Middlesbrough and West Brom. But Chesterfield, that's all we matter. That's all that matters to me, really, getting another survival in the bag, and that's 11 wins, another superb boost compared to last season. But hard luck, Watford. You can see now we're only 7 points behind Arsenal. Fantastic. A few landmarks there. Well done, everybody. So let's comment in greater detail as Chesterfield have survived in the Premier League for the second time. So we're never relegated from the top flight since we've only been promoted there once. Kenji Gore, very light injury. So he was actually here, the Roberto Dodekin. He was here to watch Kenji, and he's been injured. And Bowyer has sort of stood up for me, which is nice. I'll leave the press conference till later, but let's just take a look at the team competitions. You can see we are mathematically, there is a slight mathematical chance that we could be relegated, but to be honest, I can't see all three of the teams in the bottom three getting those required results with very few games to go. The likes of Villa and Cardiff are in deeper trouble than the likes of Sheffield United, for example. But it depends how the Blades do in the next few games. But at last, Chesterfield win again at home, and that takes us on to 18 points in 15 home games. And we could hopefully get more than 22 points at home. That would be great. And the away record remains outstanding. Just Man United and Chelsea have been better than us in that department. So I did say it was a disgrace to be so bad away from home not too long ago. But here's how we clinched survival in the last 3 games. We're unbeaten in those 3 games. We got a point out of high-flying Black Cats Sunderland AFC. So we could have gone on to win it, but I decided let's take the 1-1 when they had their man sent off. Aston Villa came and invited us to Villa Park in a must-win game with Stuart Pearce sacked. We took a gamble, played our 4-2-3-1, and it looked like a dismal performance was on the cards as Shane Duffy scored within 5 minutes, but we plucked away, we survived the onslaught, and Callum Cook got his very first goal for the club at a perfect time in the 44th minute to be more specific. Then Yairo Mensah, the magician, stepped up with 2 more goals in a matter of minutes to guarantee the result despite Brian Lenihan's first red card for the club. So that put us on those 38 points, and as you just saw, the 2 goals from Wagstaff and Syra against Watford have guaranteed the survival as far as I'm concerned, and I'm absolutely delighted with that. Let's just take a look at the squad stats in greater detail. So the overall records would be great, thank you very much. So Anthony Syra has played the most games with 25. Yair Mensah has appeared 26 times, but 5 are off the bench. He scored 16 goals for his troubles. Linus Muller, still out injured, has played 21 times. Loftus-Cheek, 23 total appearances. Sean Kavanagh, 21 as well. So great season for him yet again, despite a slow start. No surprise who's topping the goal scoring charts is, of course, Yair Mensah on 16. Tomas Forza, credit to him, he's starting to improve. He has 6 goals and 4 assists. Stephen Kinsella has actually managed 3 goals in just, I think, like 23 appearances now, but 15 of those were starts, and a lot of them came recently. Syra has 2 goals, as well as Bertram, Boring, Wagstaff and Reddington, and then 1 goal for Powell, Cook, Gore, Baba and Lee Griffiths. So the big name that has still yet to score is Michael Henning, but we can probably try him out a little more as we have less pressure on our shoulders with relegation out of our minds for the time being. On the assist charts, we've got Tom Bertram on top with a fantastic 10. His challenger on the right wing, Kenji Gore, has 6. Ben Wagstaff has 5. Kavanagh also on 5. Forza on 4. Mensah, Powell, Cook, Griffiths, Loftus-Cheek, Shanahan, Stephenson and Henning each have 1. So that's pretty decent, but there are a few players that help out with building up play but don't really get assists, such as Brian Boring, who has 0 for the season. Man of the Match awards have been spread out pretty evenly, but since we don't win that often, it's probably a little unjust on Yair Mensah to only have 3 Man of the Match awards. Forza has 2. Bertram, Wagstaff, Powell, Loftus-Cheek, Kinsella, Syra, Reddington each have 1. And then average rating, the best player in that department has been Rasmus Stephenson, the unsung hero yet again. I want to single him out for some praise. He's been really something else this season. He got a 7.2 in that last game. Just goes to show he's very consistent. Yair Mensah, obviously he wasn't on the money today, but 7.09 is a fair reflection of how he's done this year. Ben Wagstaff has 5, or he's nearly got 7.0, just a smidgen below. Kenji Gore 6.95 in a similar amount of appearances. Callum Cook, who's been rather unlucky this season, has now started to enter my plans, and he's got a 6.94 average rating. Tomas Forza 6.89. Reddington similar score, and then the likes of Bertram, Loftus-Cheek and Shanahan have played reasonably well but don't get the credit they deserve. Jakob Brunner, who's the number 1 goalkeeper with Linus Muller out, has been sensational in these last few games. He kept a clean sheet again, so I'm absolutely over the moon with him. He's been very patient and he's gotten his chance. Linus Muller there, 6.76. He's I don't know, not too sure how many clean sheets he's kept, but we'll check that out momentarily. Sean Kavanagh down here as well. And the weakest performers this season, Trent Tafiopoulos 6.70, Pinos 6.65, Lenihan 6.65, Ollie Banks 6.61. We'll comment on Banks here. He's one of the few players who's been able to stay in the first team ever since the League 2 days, and he's been pretty much dependable ever since, but his best days were probably back in League 1 when we got promoted. He scored 10 goals and assisted twice, so unfortunately that was his peak and it came a little bit too late, but it was very valuable when the time was needed. And then the worst 2 players this season have been Michael Henning and Matthew Targett. Surprisingly to see Matthew Targett down here, but just some of his performances have been lacklustre. The likes of Man United and Chelsea stick out, and then he just doesn't seem to like those big games. But in fairness to him, against Middlesbrough he got a 7.1, so hopefully Matthew can up his game and challenge Sean Kavanagh better than he did last season, and indeed for half of this season anyway. So let's just check out the clean sheets actually before I head off. I don't have as much time on my hands today, but let's look at these player stats with clean sheets, if I can find it. There it is, right down the bottom. So Linus Muller has 4, Jakob Brunner has 3, so that's significantly less for Linus Muller. He got a lot more clean sheets last year, but De Gea and Courtois leading the charts. And credit to Alex McCarthy, the dual national. He's on 11. Tim Krul and Hugo Lloris, as well as Kasper Schmeichel, are in double figures. And disappointment for Joe Hart. He's not keeping the goals out. And Wojciech Szczesny and Simon Mignolet are really poor down there at the bottom. And Jordan Holmes, in fairness to him, he's kept 6 clean sheets. So it seems like City have a plan B. But the likes of Ochoa there, he's been relegated to warming the bench and that sort of thing. So disappointment for certain players, but better from others. So if we now take a look at the team stats and our average attendance by numbers, you can see we're down to the bottom with 16,390, which should be just about enough to sell out the Pro Act every week when we return. And by capacity, we're down near the bottom as well with 65% as opposed to the near 99% we got last year. But can't really blame the fans too much. It must be difficult to fill up a much bigger ground than previously expected. And we're actually the best away team in recent weeks. So we've been unbeaten in our last 5 away games. But the likes of Man City and Manchester United setting the standard when it comes to entertaining opponents at home. So that's pretty much the majority of things on my mind. We're starting to lose a bit of money actually. We're not creating as much revenue in the club. We've actually lost 17 million, but we spent a fair amount of that in the transfer window. So by the time we get prize money and player bonuses and all that sort of that, we should be back in roughly 40 million euros, which would be fantastic. The stadium will be back by the 29th of April, so there will be a home game to play at that sort of time range, but unfortunately our wait for the facilities to be finished continues, as that's not going to be until October. But at least my job status is untouchable, so that means a lot. Our first home game back in the Pro Act will be against Everton, so I'll leave that for a live com. But since we've survived, there's no need to live com the Leicester game. But you know, if you really want me to go to the Etihad and then Everton a double header, I can certainly accommodate that when my time is freed up. But thank you very much guys for watching, and I'm sure you're just as elated as me to remain in the Premier League for another season. And if our ambitions can extend, we could possibly challenge the likes of Fulham, Liverpool and Queen's Park Rangers for a top 7 finish. Now that'll be exciting, wouldn't it? But the fact that we're above Swansea, Tottenham and the rest in terms of cut-off point, it means so much, and we can press on and improve for next season, which will be very, very important, especially since we got knocked out of the other 2 tournaments reasonably quickly. But again, that's it guys. I really hope you enjoyed. We'll speak again soon. Goodbye.